60.
Yeah, it's like 64 ounces or whatever it is.
What up, everyone? PFC 194. We're in here. Premier League Fantasy Soccer Talk. Matchday 9 for the coming up for you. Gonna give you some tips, some advice. Go through the picks from last week. Also go through the top 5, the PFC host rankings, favorable, unfavorable matchups. Get into the buy, keep, sells for this week, and then finish up with some captain recommendations. But I'm going to open it up this week. If you listen to PFC, I think it was 191 or 192. Huss got caught saying this dude's name, and I'm going to give him the team week of the name, man. Hello, you Conti. So close. Huss stumbled into it, didn't know what he was saying, just started reading, and by the time he got to the end, he realized he had gotten into that see more butts trap, you know?
I started laughing a lot, too.
It was great, but man, hello, you Conte, fantastic name. This week, we also have Harry's Kane joining us. We got us another girl in the league. There's 3 of them. We got Kara, my wife, Holly, and now Samantha trying to get stuck in. Good luck to you, Samantha. I know you're joining late, but keep plugging away, keep listening to these episodes, and hopefully you'll dig yourself out of that relegation zone. But let's get into it. Top 5 performers from match day 8 in the PFC Fantasy League. Huss.
All right. Well, we have changing of the guard. We have Wayne's winners. He had a good week at 67 points and 493 total points. That means Kevlar Ravens has gone down to second. Marty McFly only had 46 points on the week, so he dropped down to 488 points total. So he's back by 5 points. Then in third place, we got A, B, C, D, E, F, C. Tiki's favorite name of the whole group, I think. Sean Maroney, 42 points of the week, 6-9 total. Then fourth place, we got Will I Am. Bijan.
Go ahead.
Oh, man.
Go ahead.
Baka Rafi.
Fuck Rafi. Fuck Rafi.
That's too many letters for me to say. So that's 52 points on the week. He's at 468. So he's only 1 point behind Sean Maroney. So ABCDFC, you better get your game on. And then 4 points behind Will I Am. You got 5th place. Liverpool is awesome. Evan Prasco, 46 points on the week. So he's 464. I'm never going to say his name.
Nah, you got it. You got it. Evan Prasco.
Yeah,
I used to work
no,
with
I'm never going to say his team name. It's the best. It's the worst team name.
By the way, Wayne's winner is Wayne Powell, a friend of mine from South Africa. I went to high school with him for a few years. So he's doing all this work from South Africa, guys. So we're a worldwide show. He's absolutely killing it. Good luck to you. Keep going. Top scorer for last week, an obvious one, Wayne's winners. Of course, he's up there. Wayne Powell, 67 points, like Huss said, with 493 points, sitting pretty in first place. A massive United fan, too. So, of course, he's in first place. PFC rankings for the hosts, struggling a little bit. But like I always like to say, ladies first. You can lead all the way to the end of match day 38. But what matters is which position you're in on that match day 38. And I think we'll be improved. Huss obviously always hangs out at the top doing work. That's why he's our fantasy wizard. But leading the PFC hosts, we got Hussy in 11th place, 51 points this week, and 447 overall. We got Al in 34th place with 49 points this week, 404 overall. Myself in 44th place, Tiki, with 45 points, 387 overall. Fareed in 55th place, trying to crack into that top half of the table. It's not looking good for him, though. He's sitting with 53 points for the week, 376 overall. And Tom digging himself out every week. He seems to be climbing, but still at the bottom of the PFC host table, sitting there with 60 points on the week in 58th place. And 372 points overall. Next, we're going to get into the buy, keep, sell risks for last week, the total points they got, how they did. Now, obviously, the goal is to have your sell players get the least amount of points. Your buy and your keeps get the most points, and then your risks. Also, you're hoping for a nice group of points there too. So, Huss, how'd we do?
Oh boy. Oh boy. This could be my worst fantasy picks I've ever done for Fantasy Talk for the buys. Not the risk of actually maybe the sells too. I mean, but it was a tough week. As you can see, where Wayne had the most points of the whole group, and we have 80 members in our group. He got 67. Normally that'd be what, probably top 20. And that was 67 is not many points.
Yeah, the average for the week was 41, so that gives you an idea, guys. League wide, everyone struggled.
Yeah, so I mean, for the buys, we had 6 points. That was miserable. I mean, who'd I go with? Elliot. I really thought that Elliot was going to do a little bit better, but I mean, Gabby got the 2 goals against him. Southampton came out of nowhere. Then you got Harry Maguire. Who else? Oh, the big one, Hazard. He killed me.
Killed everyone.
And Bashwai, but I'm not going to go through every name. But the keeps, we had 16 points. The sells, we had 17 points. I mean, that's just justice. I mean, that's just karma. I went against Liverpool players. We talked about last week how, without knowing, I had 3. I had Mignolet, I had Firmino, and then I had any Liverpool defender. I mean, I
got a clean sheet against the potent offense.
Everyone under the bus. And then we got, because the defenders got like, I think it was like 9 points, 7 points, 7.6 points. I was like, come on. So I just took the average of 7 points. So if you take all of them, 17 points for the sells, but the risk. These are the points that we made. We got 29 points on
wow.
That's not bad. I mean,
who are the risks? Do you have it on standby right there?
Yeah, hold up real quick. We had De Gea with 9 points. Then defenders. Oh, we had Nacho with 1 point. 1 point. Oh, what it was Jesus got the 13. Pascal got the 6. Do I have my numbers correct? Yes, I do. I was double checking them. I was like, wait, Monreal got 1. How do we get 29 points? But it was Jesus that really got us those points. But if we want to get into the matchups this week,
favorable and unfavorable matchups.
Favorable matchups. We got West Ham versus Brighton. That type of match, I don't know exactly what the score is. That's going to be a toss-up. That was probably my hardest match to say it's going to be favorable because you never know with those 2 teams. Then we got Chelsea versus Watford. You got Fareed's team and then Fareed's team to watch.
Oh, boy. Are they going to be giant killers again?
Oh, my goodness. You know what? Morata's back. So that's going to be huge. Huge for Chelsea. I almost put him as the buy for the striker this week because Chelsea need him. It's not Morata's down, we'll have Batshuayi play or we'll buy somebody else. No. Chelsea need. He's a necessity to Chelsea. Morata has to play for Chelsea to actually go on a good winning run. Huddersfield versus United, obviously. City versus Burnley. I feel like City's going to be in favorable every week because it's City. Everton versus Arsenal. That was my second hardest to say favorable, but the way that Everton's been playing and with Lacazette and Sanchez, that cohesion, the more they play together, I think they're going to really start to produce a lot of goals.
Definitely.
Non-favorable. We got Newcastle versus Palace. I'm only saying non-favorable for them because Newcastle, they've been pretty good this year. And Palace, everything has changed since Zaha has come back. Everything. So we don't know which Palace is going to show up yet. We got Stoke versus Bournemouth, Swansea versus Leicester, Southampton versus West Brom, Spurs versus Liverpool. I almost put them as favorable because I just figured like it's going to be a shootout. But again, it's Spurs at home and it's Liverpool playing a top team. So this could very well be another 0-0 draw. We don't know. Or this game could very well be 4-4.
Yeah, it's definitely the game of the weekend.
Yeah. So my first thought, we talk about it every single week. We always say it, Tiki and I. if you have a keeper, if you have Ederson or any of the defenders from City, you're wasting your time. Get rid of them. You must have 3 offensive players from City, whether it's going to be Aguero, Jesus, Silva, Sane, Sterling, any of those type of guys. You need to have at least 3 of them because it looks like this team is going to be averaging 4 to 5 goals a match all year long, and that's absurd.
And guys, we say that with a caveat. Obviously, they could go 0-0 this weekend because it's the EPL. But I think at this point, City's the hot team. Last season it was Chelsea the hot team at some point, and you couldn't make any progress if you didn't have Chelsea players. So for now, while City's hot, jump on that bandwagon, but understand that at some point they might go through a bit of a drought. But you'll recover, man. It's definitely worth taking a risk on 3 City players.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's also I almost put Harry Kane as the sell forward this week. Wait, let me double check that I didn't. No, I didn't. But I mean, Harry Kane. Spurs are facing Liverpool at home and United away. It's one of those things where, realistically speaking, score a lot of goals. No. Maybe against Liverpool, but it's a top team, so you never know with Liverpool. But you still have to hold on to Kane if you have him because you just don't know with that guy. He could just pull off 2 hat-tricks in a row because they're big matchups, and he looked like he was going to produce versus Madrid. And if he looked good versus Madrid, he definitely will look good versus Pool and United.
Cool. So let's get into it. The buy, keep, sell risks for this week. We open it up with goalkeepers, then move on to defenders, then midfielders, and then wrap it up with forwards. So let's do the goalkeepers.
First goalkeeper for the buy of the week, we have Begovic. Now, Begovic is with Bournemouth. I know that seems a little crazy, but he's 4.5 price. He's only owned by 4% in the game. They're playing Stoke away. Now, when you say Stoke, what am I talking about? I'm talking about Stoke, who only have 9 goals on the year. It's not too crazy, but they don't seem to be producing too many goals each game. I have faith in Bournemouth because it's just time for them to just snap out of it. I think Bournemouth is underplaying themselves right now. They finished, 10th place last year or something? And they look like a Crystal Palace type of team right now. They brought in some good players, and they just seem to be, I don't know what it is. Maybe Jack Wilshere was that good for them last year. We don't know, but Josh King, we'll get into him later, but I think that's a little hint. But but no one is really doing. I mean, Defoe, what's going on with him, man? I mean, no one knows. So
yeah, I like it. Begovic, he's 4.5 if I'm not mistaken, so he's not too expensive.
No, he's in good. He's in a good price at the moment. And no one really owns him either. So if he does score points, you're gonna be alone with that. So next we have a keep. We had him as the buy last week because I really liked him. We're going with Elliott from Newcastle. Man, nice. I'm only saying him because they're playing Palace. And this Palace, they just played Chelsea, and they beat him. We all know that. Zaha came back. He played an outrageous game. Newcastle's home. That could mean something. We don't know exactly. It'll be better for Newcastle at least. But at the same time, don't know which Palace is going to show up. I think there was a little bit of momentum knowing that Zaha's coming back. So I don't know if it's going to carry over for another game. We'll find out. But I still like Newcastle because they've been doing pretty well here.
Cool.
And then sell. We got Foster, West Brom, 4.5 price. Oh, I forgot about the Elliott. Elliott's still 4.1 priced, and he's owned by 25.7% of the game. So I'm not alone on that one.
He's my starting goalie.
Okay, there we go. And then so the sell is Foster, West Brom. You got 4.5 price, 14.9% own him. Who are they playing? Southampton. Man, oh man. Let's get into Southampton real quick. Where are you? You have 7 goals on the season, and almost happened in the last game.
Yeah.
Scoring goals. So maybe that's a personal thing. I have no idea. I just have faith in West Brom. And I don't know if I should either, because West Brom has been pretty much sucking this year. So I'm kind of going on last year's West Brom, but I think they're going to snap out of it a little bit too. And because West Brom's away, that could play a difference. But I'm going to go with West Brom gain a clean sheet with Southampton.
Yeah, dude. I mean, they did decently against Leicester on Monday night. Kukovic, hell of a player. Dawson had himself a decent game. So yeah, I think West Brom. It's almost the same old, from a Tony Pulis team. But man, to demand this kind of performance, this kind of sort of drive and determination that West Brom have, I think it's absolutely possible for them to go in there and get a result.
Oh yeah, and then risk we have Peter Cech, and I say he's a risk or he's 5.5 price, and that's a pretty heavy price for a keeper. It's owned by 5.6% of the teams. Arsenal's facing Everton away. Now, when I say Everton, let's get into Everton real quick. They have 5 goals on the season. They average 11.5 shots per game. It's not very good. I mean, they have an elderly man named Wayne Rooney up top. So I'm not sure if Arsenal should fear Everton that much, because they have some young talent. That's good. But Arsenal, they seem to, as much as they're having trouble at the back with injuries, they still seem to be doing pretty well for Arsenal in the situation that they're in. And also,
it's going to be a tough game, though, for Arsenal. They're just coming off a defeat against Watford. So, look, Arsenal, a wounded animal, backs against the wall. A lot could happen positively for them.
That's true. That's definitely true. But I still rate Watford over Everton.
Cool.
It's one of those things where Everton right now seems like they have a lot of decent names, but they just don't know how to gel. They don't have chemistry. So right now it's like 7 players playing as a team, and then you have another 5 players kind of out there doing their thing. So right now I'm not too confident in Everton, so I'm going to go with Arsenal, getting a clean sheet against them. Cech's a good shout, because not only that, but they have Swansea at home after Everton. After that, you got to sell them because you got City and Spurs. So, getting into defenders, I'm getting into Jamal Lascelles, Newcastle defender.
Newcastle captain as well. I think 23 years old, very young dude, excellent leader.
Yeah, and again, it's Palace. Palace hasn't scored many goals. You might be looking at a clean sheet. And then not only that, but with Benteke out, I mean, there's not too many options for Palace to get the ball clear. And this guy has proven this year that he can score as a defenseman. So that's the dude. Pick him up. He's only 4.7 price, so that's a really good price, and 11.4% own him. Keeping cool. Yoshida, Southampton, going against West Brom.
Captain Yoshida.
Yeah. So, you know what? I'm going with a 0-0 tie on this one after I talked about Fossa a little bit. So I think both teams are going to get a clean sheet. It's 5 overall for price, 3.7% own him. I think that's actually pretty low for the value this guy gives you. 5.0 isn't – I think that's like the average. I think it's 5 to 5.5 is the average for a decent defender.
Yeah.
And Southampton, after West Brom, they have Brighton away, Burnley home. After Liverpool, they have Liverpool, Everton, Man City. So they keep them for the next 3 games. West Brom, Brighton, Burnley. I mean, that's a good shout for 3 clean sheets in a row. Selling Chris Lowe of Huddersfield. I mean, I don't have to tell you much more than this. It's United at home and then Liverpool away. That's all I need to tell you. Huddersfield, sell, sell, sell. You got 2 of the best offenses coming at you. Probably number 2 and number 3, or number 3 and number 4 in the league because of City and Tottenham. I'm not sure exactly. But Huddersfield, you might be having a welcome to the league moment the next 2 weeks. Oh my goodness. You got the risk pick, Jose Font. And he's risking wait, West Ham is facing Brighton at home. That doesn't seem too scary. Then they also have Palace away. Again, that doesn't seem too scary. But the fact of the matter is, has West Ham gelled enough to actually be considered to have chemistry? Jose Font, they did well in the last probably 4 matches. So at 4.9 priced and 2.3 owned by the whole game, he's a good risk pick at the moment.
I like it. Man, I'm gonna throw in a risk here. High price defender. I don't really devote a lot of my budget to defenders. I usually try to find a value pick in that position. But man, it was brought to my attention this week. Phil Jones is having a season, dude. So I'm gonna start week 1 through week 8. 6 points, 6 points, 7 points, 1 point, 6 points, 9 points, 6 points, 7 points. This dude looks like he's guaranteed 6 points every game with the United defense playing the way they are. He's a risk. And I say risk because they play Huddersfield next. And then the next 2 games are Spurs and Chelsea. That's where the risk comes in. I don't think he's a risk against Huddersfield. Just keep an eye on the injury report because it looks like he took a knock, but he was on the bench for Man United's Champions League game. So he'll most likely be available. But I don't usually sneak in a risk pick, but this guy he was absolutely worth mentioning.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you because I had Phil Jones 2 weeks ago as the buy defender. He got 6 points that week. He's only at 5.2 that week, and I was actually thinking keep him for now, sell him for the Liverpool game, or keep him for the Liverpool game, then keep him for the Huddersfield, then sell for Spurs, Chelsea, then bring him back at Newcastle, Brighton, Watford.
Yeah,
I fully agree. He's a nice buy because it seems just like United is going to keep a lot of clean sheets this year. So good shout on that one.
Thanks. It was the wifey shout.
Oh, of course. Oh man, Travis, I say something about Antonio on this show then?
You might have to.
West Ham favorite over there.
I almost picked him up, man. I almost picked him up this week. I had room to spare for points, and I was unhappy with Willian, but I couldn't bring myself to do it, man. I ended up taking a risk. I'll tell you about the risk I'm taking in midfield this week.
Ooh, go ahead. Man, actually, I was just thinking about Antonio because we were talking about Cara, because they're facing Brighton. Imagine Pascal Gross on the same team as Antonio. I mean, just Pascal Gross, he puts the ball just on people's heads to score. The crosses he delivers are just outstanding. So Antonio on the other side, man, be goals galore. Midfield, buying. I can't even say this guy's name. Choupo Moting.
Choupo-Moting. I'll never forget his name. He's the guy who got 2 goals against United, the only 2 goals scored in us this season so far. What a jerk.
And you know what? The fixtures are looking pretty good. They got Bournemouth at home, Watford away, Leicester home, Brighton away, Crystal Palace away. So except for Liverpool and Spurs, it is looking like good. It's looking like a good fixture until December 30th, which is Chelsea. So you can pick this guy up and keep him to the end of this year, basically. Because he plays striker. That's the thing. He plays either a wing or a striker for Stoke. Great value at 5.6. You're always looking for a great buy, like a defender who plays midfield that plays striker, something like that. And this guy does exactly that. So at 5.6 and only owned by 6.3% of the league, if you don't own this guy in the next week or two, I don't know, man. I'm gonna be selling somebody for this dude.
Cool, love it.
The next guy, I mean, let's be honest. I don't care who they're playing. This guy is top 5 best player to come into EPL this year. Maybe top 3 best player. I'm trying to think who's coming in. Came into the EPL this year. Could be
Salah, dude. Salah's number 1.
You got him right there. So Salah, you say he's number 1 best player, best transfer in player all season. Look, they're playing Spurs away, then Huddersfield home, West Ham away, Southampton away, got Chelsea at home. Look, I can read out all these fixtures. I don't care. I don't care who they're playing because, as I've said, day in, day out, Salah is like Mane of last year. With Mane out, he is on one side, Coutinho is on the other. They're playing the same exact way that they did last year. And when Mane and everyone was playing together, they were outstanding. Liverpool only played, I believe, 4 matches all year with their starting 11 because there's so many injuries. If they can keep people somewhat healthy, because now that they have 2 speedsters, Salah, special player. He's had a special week after getting Egypt into the World Cup. You scored I forget, was it 2
goals? 2 goals and an assist.
Yeah, all right. I wasn't sure if it was 3 goals. In Champions League, true, he could have scored against United to make this week even more epic, but this guy just seems like straight fire.
Yes, and what do you have him as a keep?
I have him keeping because he's only 9.2 as a price and 32.1% own him. So that's something that I try to stay away from, is that a play that how many people own him. But a play like this, we saw it last year with Sanchez. We saw it with Aguero.
Hazard last, or was it 2 years ago? Hazard, or maybe no, it was last year.
Zlatan, there was a time that 52% of the game own him, and this year Lukaku. But sometimes when a player is just delivering, you have to pick him up no matter who, even if it's 99% of the league own him, you have to pick him up just to stay in contention.
Exactly. That's the perfect way to put it, to stay in contention. There are 2 or 3 players you should have on your team that are quote unquote obvious players. You know, like Gabi Jesus right now, obvious player. Lukaku, obvious player. Kane, like you're saying, Salah. Coutinho looks like he's starting to bubble. Hazard is starting to bubble. Sanchez was still waiting for him to show up. Pogba was that guy at the start of the season. These are the guys that sort of keep you pacing, so that if your other guys choke, at least these few guys will get you 40 points minimum. You know, so it's important to have 3 or 4 of those type of obvious players, and then you make up your ground by picking the right captain and then picking the right sleepers.
Yeah, when I'm picking the, I shouldn't call them the automatic point getters, but there's a better than 50% chance that they're going to come away with points. That's how I see it. I try to have at least 4 to 5 of those players on my team at one time, if you can, because of the price. And then I try to treat the players almost like in the stock market. You have your risk picks. Well, as we're doing, I'm going to have my Microsoft. I'm going to have my Apple. I'm going to have, and then I'm going to have my, let's say, Panera Bread. Don't know what Panera Bread's going to do, but let's take a stab at it. Throw some money at it. And they also have great sandwiches.
Love it. All right, let's continue on with the midfield.
Selling. I know this is kind of hypocritical of what I said about Kane, but I'm going to sell Christian Eriksen.
Oh,
he's the number 1 midfield point getter in the game. He's rated 9.7 priced and 26.3% own him. Look, they have Liverpool at home, Palace home, Arsenal away. Harry Kane's going to do his thing. And I know Eriksen always seems to show up. There's only been 2 games this year in league play that he has not got a goal or assist. But there's just a gut feeling that in the next couple games, he might get a. I'm thinking the next 4 games, I'm predicting 2 assists in the next 4 games.
Wow. Okay, that's not too bad.
So it's not too bad, but it's not too good for him. You know what I'm saying? Where it's not the worst thing he can do, but I don't know when they're coming. It could be 1 against Liverpool, it could be 2 against Arsenal. So I'm thinking that 2 out of the next 4 games, he's going to get 0 points. So I think you can spend your money somewhere better.
Okay.
Kind of like a Salah. After that, the risk pick of the week, basically. Forget about every other player. We talked about him last week. We're talking about him this week. The one and only Wilfred Zaha.
Boom. Dude, you nailed it. That's my risk for the week. I picked him up over Willian this week. Dude's
Yeah.
on fire. Dude's hot. Who knows, man? He might not do anything the next couple of games, but when a guy is showing that much passion, he's just come off injury, so he's fresh legs. Man, if he can stay healthy, this dude's going to be a nice, cheap little point getter. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Right now, he looks like a game changer. We said it. We said it. 3 years ago, 4 years ago. He looked like he was going to be that type of player, but he's always so inconsistent. And every year, he gets a little bit more consistent.
Yeah, he's one of those players who could bounce back into a top 6 club. He was at Man United, I think, for a year or two. Didn't really have a good stint there. I blame it a bit to the transition of Fergie, sort of halfway out the door. You know, he wasn't necessarily investing, didn't have enough time, you know, to wait for him to develop. But you look at this guy's ability, strength, his power, his skills. Man, United should have waited on this guy, maybe sent him out on a few loans, Chelsea style. But man, if he can get himself maybe 15 goals, 10 to 15 goals this year and rack it up with a few assists as well, I think he'll get himself a nice upgrade next season.
I could definitely see Zaha playing for Tottenham.
Yeah, Tottenham. Maybe Liverpool has too many wingers, but yeah, Tottenham. I could see him at Tottenham. Maybe Arsenal if they get desperate.
Arsenal. Yeah, because if Sanchez leaves, well, I mean, he probably will. I could definitely see Zaha going in there on the right because they're looking at Mahrez over the year, over the summer.
Yeah,
he plays on the right, just like Wilfred. So I could definitely see that being a possibility. It's just one of those things. Zaha is just so physically fit. He's just a beast. This is like he's like a slimmer version of Lukaku. This guy, he has speed. He has he's not too crazy tall, but he has enough height to win out battles in the air.
Definitely.
He can jump. I mean, he's just straight up strong. So we don't know exactly what's going on because the whole team, not just Zaha, but the whole team showed faith, especially when after that own goal happened with Aspie for Chelsea. Every single player on Palace, their eyes started to be a little bit more bright. And he added to it. And that goal that he had at the end, that was
winner.
Oh my God. If Harry Kane had that over the week against Real Madrid, oh my goodness. We'd be talking about that still today. Well, I guess we are still.
I know, as you talk about it right now.
But he's only priced at 6.7. Only 3% of the game own him. I don't see how you would look away from this guy. Look, I know I picked 2 Newcastle players, but those are almost risky buys because they got Newcastle and then they get West Ham at home, Spurs away, Everton at home, Stoke at home, Brighton away, West Brom away, Bournemouth, Watford, Leicester.
All right.
My point is, out of the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, out of like something like the next 10 matches, you get Spurs, and Spurs are like the number 1 team that's gonna be hard. Every other game is a toss-up. Right now, if they go on a run, by December 23rd, you could see Palace in 13th place. I could see them being in 13th place with how many points they can still at least. So Zaha is the pick to have. Him and Choupo-Moting, those are the 2 midfielders that are cheap that you probably want to buy, so you can afford like an Eriksen when you want to buy him again, or a Salah or someone else.
Or KDB, who's hot right now.
Yeah, KDB, Hazard, Sanchez. So let's get into forwards. Not to drag this on too long, we got Vardy, 8.6 price, 15.9% own him.
Is this a buy?
Oh yeah, this is the buy. Sorry, they're playing Swansea away. Then you got Everton at home, Stoke away. Those you have Swansea. Who? Let's look at them. Where are they? One moment, I have them somewhere. There you are.
You got 1,000 windows open as usual.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They have 8 goals against, so that's not too bad. But at the same time, most of those goals are coming at home. 7 goals are given up at home. So I think Vardy is also one of those players that when he gets hot, you can't stop him. I mean, we saw it 2 years ago. The guy, he can shoot from anywhere. Ask Liverpool. I mean, he shot from like, whether there was a volley that he had like 35 yards out. He just hits it. The guy is he's a freight train. He just goes. He's so direct. And if he's feeling it with Okazaki next to him, beware. Beware. Then you get Everton at home, who has just been absolutely atrocious. And then you have Stoke. Stoke, I thought they let up pretty bad. Yeah, they tied Crystal Palace at 18 for letting up the most goals letting up the most goals out of the entire league. So that's amazing that Stoke is that way, because we always talk about Stoke, can they hang with Stoke on a cold and rainy Tuesday night? Well, it looks like everyone can hang out with Stoke anytime, any day. So I'm going with Vardy.
Love it.
Keep. It's the West Ham man. It's a guy that I believe that you really do like this guy a lot. I'm going to go with Chicha Hernandez. I mean, I'm going to get
Chicha Hernandez, not even Dorito Hernandez, just Chicha. You guys on a game basis?
Oh, yeah, duh. Yeah. I'm teaching.
I do love this guy. Teaching him Spanish.
I mean, they got Brighton at home, Crystal Palace away, Liverpool at home, Watford away, Leicester at home, Everton away. Those games right there, that's 6 games that he could very well score in. He's only ranked at priced at 7, and he's owned by 17.7%.
And the advantage with him is that his striking partner got a red card last match day, so he won't be playing. So Chicharito, definitely they'll be leaning on him. But yeah, West Ham's got to dig themselves out of the gutter, man. They're better than they're playing. They keep scraping along. At some point, it's going to click for them, and I think a massive key to that is Chicharito getting on the scoreboard more often.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up a good point with Carroll not being there at the moment, because I was going to bring up the last 4 out of 5 matches, Chicha did not play a full 90. Those 4 matches that I'm talking about, besides that game against Tottenham where he did play 90, he was averaging, I'm not doing the math out, roughly 71 minutes a game. I mean, that's what I'm a little surprised about. You bring this guy in, and it's your striker. I mean, leave him on there. Well, he's the poacher.
You know what the problem is with him is that he needs steady supply, and he needs the supply to be further in that final third. And right now, Lanzini's having a hard time, producing that kind of creativity in the final third. That's why they were hoping that Carroll was going to be the guy to sort of play a little deeper, win the ball and flick it on for him. So that's why he's not getting his full 90. He's just not being effective right now. I think that happens the first year. He's obviously been in the EPL before, but he's never started at this steady rate in the EPL. So I think he should at some point click, because this guy's a nose for goal, but it might be a bit of a waiting game with him. But when he does pop, like you said, he's not owned by too many people, and he's not too expensive. $7 is a lot for a guy you're not sure is going to score, but I can see why you'd say that it might be worth looking at this guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those things where when I was talking about why he's coming off 71 minutes in or so, how many times do you just see teams just dumping the ball into the box near the end of a game? And Chicha is the perfect type of player. He's a poacher. He hangs out in the 18-yard box, and he just finishes he like a toe poke. He'll hit it with any part of his body. So that's why I wish he played all 90 minutes for West Ham. I know that he could be tired, but that type of player I like in the 90th minute, just scrumming around and just trying to flick on any single pass, any single shot that's coming through the box.
Cool.
So very well he could be scoring in the next week. Selling. We already talked about him once. The old man Rivers. Actually, he's not that old, because he's only 1 year older than us, but he seems very old when he plays. Mr. Wayne Rooney.
Shots fired.
I mean, he could be a great dude. Heck, I mean, I'm sure he's a good time. You hear all those stories about how he just drinks and wants to party. That sounds awesome. But on the field, it seems to be affecting him because he just is not Wayne Rooney. I don't even know what you want to call him. He's not Wayne Rooney that we know.
No, he's not, man, and it's unfortunate to see it, but I think it happens naturally over time. Players just age, but yeah, look, for fantasy, I don't know if he's the guy you want to go with. I kind of agree with your sell shout. I love this dude. I'm a United fan. He's an absolute god at United, always will be. But yeah, he just doesn't have that fire about him that he used to have. Never mind, I'm not talking about taking people on. I'm not talking about running 50 yards. I'm talking about just the fire, the competitive fire to win. It almost looks like he's going through the motions, so to speak, you know. So for fantasy, can't really have that. But now watch him get a hat trick this weekend, man. That's how the soccer gods work.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're
only mere mortals. Yeah, we're only mere mortals, man. We can only advise you guys on what we see. We watch countless hours of this beautiful game. But yeah, we're not fortune tellers. But I dig your shot of Sal Wayne Rooney.
Well, the thing is, you brought that up, and I didn't even say anything because there's just so many times that I've said someone, and then out of nowhere they just score 2 goals. I'm like, what the hell just happened? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like Hazard.
It's so frustrating.
Captain Hazard, and
oh my god,
he absolutely choked against Crystal Palace.
My god, yeah, but it is what it is. All right, so my last pick of the week, risking at the forward position, Josh King. I say Josh King. He's only 7.1 priced, and he's owned by 1.7%. Oh, that's kind of funny. So 7.1, 1.7. But it's like race car. So what are those called? I forget what those are called. Free knows the name of those when it's like the same thing or whatever. Moving on.
Yeah, let's do that.
7.1 price, and then you got 1.7% on. Like the fixtures, they're looking pretty good for Bournemouth. You got Stoke away, minus Chelsea, which is home. Then you got Newcastle away, Huddersfield home, Swansea away, Burnley, Southampton, Palace. And Stoke has the worst conceded goals, as I said, with Palace at 18. And you know what? When it comes down to it, he's just due. He's due for a good game. He's due for some goals. I know, what was it, like 3-4 weeks back, I told you I was done with him. I said I'm never picking this guy up before. And you know what? I mean, I overreacted because I want this guy to score. I hate the fact that he's rated as a forward now, not a midfielder, because that was one of the big draws about having him last year.
Yeah, it was a nice little loophole.
Yeah, but he's only scored 1 goal all year. And last year, it took a little time for him to really start to like show the points. But I expected him to come out a little bit better, a little bit faster this year. I don't know. I just feel like in the next week, 2 weeks, sorry, not 2 weeks because they're playing Chelsea, but either against Stoke, Newcastle, Huddersfield, one of those 3 games, I'm feeling that he's going to start scoring, and I just don't know which one. So I'd say, you know what, might as well buy him for Stoke because they're horrendous on defense. Ask City and Zuma like crying after the game. What was it 7-0 or 7-2 or something?
7-2 was a weird score.
Oh my goodness! All right, captain picks, captain and vice captain. Well, sorry. Well, I guess you could do vice captain.
Your captain, my captain. Let's do that.
I kind of like that as a segment. You know, like, oh, captain, my captain. Like, your captain, my captain. All right, never mind. It's getting late. My bad.
Yeah, loopy.
And I'm drinking water tonight too.
Panic.
Man,
it is. This is a difference maker every week, ladies and Germans. I've gotten my captain's pick wrong twice in a row, which, you know, not to brag, but I usually get my captains right. I second guessed on making Harry Kane captain. He scored 2 goals that week. Then the following week, I second guessed making Jesus captain. He scores 2 goals last week. So this week I'm freaking out. I have to get my captain right. Who do you got, Huss?
Yeah, well, I mean, look.
Here we go.
I just hate picking the obvious picks because obviously if you have anyone from City, pick them. They're going against Burnley at home. And they're scoring so many goals. So forget anything. If you own any City player, choose them. What?
For your captain, it has to be the obvious, not the sneaky. Don't give us sneaky captains. Give us the bread and butter. This dude, in my opinion, this week is gonna do work. I'm talking about 20 points plus.
Well, if that's the case, I mean, it's either going to be any City player or Lukaku.
Cool.
But with City going against Burnley at home, the guy who just seems to be on fire right now, Raheem Sterling.
Whoa, your boy.
Look, you guys think I hate the dude. I don't. I wish he was still in Liverpool. But it's just, hey, and he still scored that goal 11 yards in. So, you know what? I'm still not wrong with what I said.
Yeah.
12 yards out.
I'm not gonna bite on that bait like Tom does. But
yeah, 12 yards out.
I would love to. It looks tasty, that bait, but I'm not gonna take it right now.
Actually, yeah, you know, I've got to double check to make sure I want to pick him because it's one of those things where every other week it seems to be Sterling or Sane, and
Dude.
then that's the tough part where which City player is going to score more. So I guess it's a win-win-win if you have all the players. So yeah, you know what? I'm staying with Sterling. He had a goal and 2 assists last week. Nothing the week before. He had 2 goals the week before that. A goal before that. He already has 6 goals and 2 assists on the year. And then in Champions League, he's doing the same thing. Yep, Sterling, Raheem Sterling, get him.
Dude, so my team's all offense. I got Jesus, Lukaku, and Kane up top. And every week it's like that game. You know the game where you put like a P under the cup, and then there's 2 other cups, and then you spin the cups, and then you got to guess where the P is.
Yeah,
that's what I'm playing every week with these 3 dudes, man. Lukaku's playing Huddersfield away. Jesus playing Burnley at home, and Kane's playing Liverpool at home. I'm so tempted to take Harry Kane this week. 1, because he's overdue, played a very good game against Real Madrid. 2, that Liverpool defense is perfect for him because he can either beat you on pace or power or score from 20, 30 yards out. But Jesus and that Joga Bonito that Man City's playing, it's absolutely breathtaking. It's why Pep Guardiola is my favorite manager, always has been. He revolutionized this game. He inspired small teams to be brave enough to play out of the back. I think that's an absolute game changer. I think that's his contribution to football with what he did at Barcelona. But that being said, man, I'm going to stick to Harry Kane. He's overdue. Jesus got himself 2 goals last week, got another 2 goals in Champions League, and Aguero is back in training. He was on the bench for the Champions League game, so I think Aguero will see some minutes in this game, be it 30 minutes or 60 minutes. So I'm going to go with Harry Kane, a guy I think is probably going to finish this game, play the full 90, I mean.
See, the one thing I don't like about Harry Kane, as we saw throughout the week, where Pep really annoyed Poch because he called it the Harry Kane team, and Poch was like, "That's very disrespectful to a lot of us. It's not just the one player." Then Pep came out saying that's ridiculous. Obviously, I know there's more people than Harry Kane on the team. I was just saying that he scores a lot of goals. With City, it's not about stopping somebody. It's about stopping the whole team. It's just the way they pass, the way they just set each other up for layups.
Yeah.
Tottenham, it's get the ball down the field, cross it in, and give the ball, find a way to get it to Kane or Ali. You're trying to stop one of them because Eriksen's going to come in late, maybe with a shot or a Cheryl, but mostly he's going to try to bring it into one of those guys. So you got to stop them. City, it's almost looking impossible to stop them at the moment.
The front 6 can score on you, be it David Silva, De Bruyne, Walker can get involved when he feels like the goals are very, very evenly spread over there. I still think Jesus and Aguero will run away with it, but yeah, to your point, man, it's just playing the odds. Who's going to score at City? There's 4 or 5 guys versus Tottenham 2 or 3.
And you know what? That's one reason why I was so disappointed in Mane getting that red card against City, because I really wanted to see how Liverpool would do. And look, it was only 1-0 to City when they had all 11 men. Once Monty went off the field, it just got out of hand. But if Monty stayed on the field, we're looking at a different game. And I wish we could have seen the outcome of that, because that would have told a lot about not just Liverpool's defense, but about City as a whole. If Liverpool could shut them down to 2 goals and maybe even draw it up at 2-2 or something.
Yeah, man, that's why I say I hate red cards in those type of games. They ruin the games. It was legit, but man, it's always unfortunate when there's a red card in that type of game, because it just skews the competition so much. But yeah, man, that's what we have for you guys for this week. Premier League, fantasy soccer talk for match day 9 coming up. If you have questions, hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, Gram. We're all over the place. Shoot us an email. Check out our website. Sign up for our newsletter as well. That's chock full of highlights. It helps you keep up with these players without having to do too much reading. You can kind of see how they're playing week to week. We appreciate you guys downloading this. We appreciate you guys telling your mama, your friends. Shoot us an iTunes review as well if you have time. Just give us that quick little 5-star. Yeah, I said 5-star because we're that good. But no, jokes aside, guys, that stuff really helps us kind of get a spotlight on iTunes and sort of keep moving this train forward. So thank you for your support, guys. We really appreciate it. Anything else, Bus?
Seriously, if you can get some ratings, that'd be huge. And if you can think of anything today, tomorrow, or anything about your team, send us a message on Facebook. We'll get back to you. We're not just gonna leave you hanging dry. We're on there constantly throughout the day. If you have anything, any questions at all about your team, we'll investigate it. We'll actually put some time into it. We won't just give you a yes and no. We'll actually look it up. And my problem is that my real job seems to suffer because of it.
You know why, Huss? Because this should be a real job. This should be a real job. And we're slowly chipping away at making that happen. We absolutely are obsessed with this game. If we weren't doing this, if we weren't doing this, we'd be on the phone texting or talking about this anyway, having beers, shooting the shit. So we definitely appreciate you guys supporting the show, and thanks for listening. See you next time.
Actually, hold up. One more story. We were talking about texting. There was a time talking about my job. My boss said, if I don't shut my phone off, I'm fired, because I got 153 messages from you, Fareed, Al, and Tom one day, and I forgot to put it on vibrate.
Dude, that happens all the time with us. We just get into these rabbit holes of discussions, who's clinical, who's not clinical. Picture that discussion. If you listen to PFC, you've heard me and Tom kind of go at it about clinical. Picture having that kind of discussion over text, dude. It gets crazy, but we love this game. So we're here for you guys. We're here for us. We're here for the beautiful game. Thank you for listening. See you.